137. Chapter 6, Part 2. Or Part 2, Chapter 6, excuse me. Getting down to business. Opening day at the drug convention. The narcotics convention is starting, finally. When we last left off, our main character and his attorney was getting ready for his next job as a journalist for some newspaper or something by covering the National Convention on Narcotics in Las Vegas. The National Convention on Narcotics and Law Enforcement, or something like that. And just the night before, after a drug-fueled adventure involving a minor and a lot of phone calls, they realized they hadn't prepared for the convention at all, so they watched TV and went to sleep. Page 137, Chapter 6, Part 2. What does that mean? Well, I meant Part 2, Chapter 6. Because Chapter 6, Part 2 makes it sound like it's a two-part Chapter 6. But it's a two-part book. We are in Part 2, Chapter 6. Page 137. Has anyone taken this course before? Does she care about attendance? Attendance is appreciated, but it's not necessary, as long as you don't mind having spoilers or being confused about the plot. I saw the movie and was stoned after not smoking weeds for months. Haha, that was crazy. I will never forget that. That might be the best way to watch it, for sure. I think that's how we all watched it. Meow, kitty, leave me alone. I'm busy. What? Stop looking into the laser. No laser today, guys. Remy has a habit of looking directly into the laser, so I have to turn it off. She's like, why is it so bright? And I'm like, God damn it. And now she's gone. Why can't I see? She's off to go find her way around the house blind. It's amazing that cats have survived this long. Just feed my laser-guided kitties. She probably was looking for the red dot. Alright, I think we nailed the summary. Let's go. Excuse me. Hi, baby. Right before the stream started, I heard all this crashing upstairs. I had to go up, and Artemis had knocked, like, my pencil sharpener off of my desk, but it wasn't plugged in. And then the wire got wrapped around her, so, like, I walk out, and there's just, like, a wire in the hallway. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that goes to. Did I leave that there? And then I go in the fucking stream room, and my pencil sharpener's on the floor. So they're all riled up now. Remy was sleeping on my bed, and she woke up because Artemis was crashing around. Getting down to business. Opening day at the drug convention. On behalf of the prosecuting attorneys of this country, I welcome you. We sat in the rear fringes of a crowd of about 1,500 in the main ballroom of the Dunes Hotel. Far up in front of the room, barely visible from the rear, the executive director of the National District Attorneys Association, a middle-aged, well-groomed, successful GOP businessman type named Patrick Healy, was opening their third National Institute on Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs. His remarks reached us by way of a big, low-fidelity speaker mounted on a steel pole in our corner. Perhaps a dozen others were spotted around the room, all facing the rear and looming over the crowd. So that no matter where you sat or even tried to hide, you were always looking down the muzzle of a big speaker. This produced an odd effect. People in each section of the ballroom tended to stare at the nearest voice box, instead of watching the distant figure of whoever was actually talking far up front on the podium. This 1935 style of speaker placement totally depersonalized the room. There was something ominous and dystopian about it. There was something ominous and authoritarian about it. Whoever set up that sound system was probably some kind of sheriff's auxiliary technician, on leave from a drive-in theater in Muskogee, Oklahoma, where the management couldn't afford individual car speakers and relied on 10 huge horns mounted on telephone poles in the parking area. A year or so earlier, I had been to the Sky River Rock Festival in rural Washington, where a dozen stone-broke freaks from the Seattle Liberation Front had assembled a sound system that carried every small note of acoustic guitar, even a cough or the sound of a boot dropping on the stage, to half-dead acid victims huddled under bushes half a mile away. But the best technicians available to the National DA's convention in Vegas apparently couldn't handle it. Their sound system looked like something Ulysses S. Grant might have triggered up to address his troops during the siege of Vicksburg. The voices from up front crackled with a fuzzy, high-pitched urgency, and the delay was just enough to keep the words disconcertingly out of phase with the speaker's gestures. We must come to terms with the drug culture in this country. Country. These echoes drifted back to the rear in confused waves. The reefer butt is called a roach because it resembles a cockroach. Cockroach. What the fuck are these people talking about? My attorney whispered. You'd have to be crazy on acid to think a joint looked like a goddamn cockroach. I shrugged. It was clear we'd stumbled into a prehistoric gathering. The voice of a drug expert named Bloomquist crackled out of the nearby speakers. About these flashbacks, the patient never knows. He thinks it's all over, and he gets himself straightened out for 6 months, and then, darn it, the whole trip comes back on him. Gosh darn that fiendish LSD. Dr. E.R. Bloomquist, M.D., was the keynote speaker, one of the big stars of the conference. He is the author of a paperback book titled Marijuana, which, according to the cover, tells it like it is. He is also the inventor of the roach cockroach theory. According to the book jacket, he is an associate clinical professor of surgery, anesthesiology, at the University of Southern California School of Medicine, and also a well-known authority on the abuse of dangerous drugs. Dr. Bloomquist has appeared on national network television panels and has served as a consultant for the government agencies, was a member of the Committee on Narcotics Addiction and Alcoholism on the Council of Mental Health of the American Medical Association. His wisdom is massively reprinted and distributed, says the publisher. He is clearly one of the heavies on that circuit of second-rate academic hustlers who get paid anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a hit for lecturing to cop crowds. Dr. Bloomquist's book is a compendium of state bullshit. On page 49, he explains the 4 states of being in the cannabis society: cool, groovy, hip, and square, in that descending order. The square is seldom, if ever, cool, says Bloomquist. He is not with it. That is, he doesn't know what's happening. But if he manages to figure it out, he moves up a notch to hip. And if he can bring himself to approve of what's happening, he becomes groovy. And after that, with much luck and perseverance, he can rise to the rank of cool. Cool, groovy, hip, and square. Bloomquist writes like somebody who once bearded Tim Leary in a campus cocktail lounge and paid for all the drinks. And it was probably somebody like Leary who told him with a straight face that sunglasses are known in the drug culture as tea shades. This is the kind of dangerous gibberish that used to be posted in the form of mimeographed bulletins in police department locker rooms. Indeed. Know your dope fiend. Your life may depend on it. You will not be able to see his eyes because of tea shades, but his knuckles will be white from inner tension, and his pants will be crusted with semen from constantly jacking off when he can't find a rape victim. He will stagger and babble when questioned. He will not respect your badge. The dope fiend fears nothing. He will attack for no reason, with every weapon at his command, including yours. Beware. Any officer apprehending a suspected marijuana addict should use all necessary force immediately. 1 stitch in time on him will usually save 9 on you. Good luck, the chief. Indeed. Luck is always important, especially in Las Vegas. And ours was getting worse. It was clear at a glance that this drug conference was not what we'd planned on. It was far too open, too mixed. About a third of the crowd looked like they'd just stopped by for the show, en route to the Fraser Alley rematch at the Vegas Convention Center across town. Or maybe a benefit for old smack dealers between Liston and Marshall Key. The room fairly bristled with beards, mustaches, and supermod dress. The hell is supermod dress? And supermod dress. The room fairly bristled with beards, mustaches, and supermod dress. The DA's conference had obviously drawn a goodly contingent. Oh, God. The blah, blah, blah. The blah, blah, blah. I'm really good at this. The DA's conference had obviously drawn a goodly contingent of undercover narcs and other Twilight types. An assistant DA from Chicago wore a light tan sleeveless knit suit. His lady was the star of the Dunes Casino. She flashed through the place like a Grace Slick at a Finch College class reunion. They were a classic couple. Stone swingers. Just because you're a cop these days doesn't mean you can't be with it. And this conference attracted some real peacocks. But my own costume, $40 FBI wingtips, and a Pat Boone Madras sport coat was just about right for the mass median. Because for every urban hipster, there were about 20 crude-looking rednecks who could have passed for assistant football coaches at Mississippi State. These were the people who made my attorney nervous. Like most Californians, he was shocked to actually see these people from the outback. Here was the cop cream from Middle America. And Jesus, they looked and talked like a gang of drunken pig farmers. I tried to console him. They're actually nice people, I said. Once you get to know them. He smiled. Know them? Are you kidding? Man, I know these people in my goddamn blood. Don't mention that word around here, I said. You'll get them excited. He nodded. You're right. I saw these bastards in Easy Rider, but I didn't believe they were real. Not like this. Not hundreds of them. My attorney was wearing a double-breasted blue pinstripe suit. A far more stylish outfit than my own. But it made him exceedingly nervous. Because to be stylishly dressed in this crowd meant that you were probably an undercover cop. And my attorney makes his living with people who are very sensitive in that area. This is a fucking nightmare, he kept muttering. Here I am infiltrating a goddamn pig conference. But sure as hell there's some dope-dealing bomb freak in this town who's going to recognize me and put word out that I'm here partying with 1,000 cops. We all wore name tags. They came with the $100 registration fee. Mine said I was a private investigator from LA, which was true, in a sense. And my attorney's name tag identified him as the expert in criminal drug analysis, which was also true in a sense. But nobody seemed to care who was what or why. Security was too loose for that kind of gritty paranoia. But we were also a bit tense because we'd given the registrar a bad check for our dual registration fee. It was a check from one of my attorney's pimp/drug underworld clients that he assumed, from long experience, was absolutely worthless. Chapter 7, Part 2. part 2, chapter 7. Thank you, chat. Thank you very much. Chapter 7. If you don't know, come to learn. If you know, come to teach. Thank you, chat. Thank you very much. Aw, Anonymous, thank you for $100 and a people clap. JC Mo, thank you for 15 months. Half an hour ago.